Hey guys, I got in the October 2025 issue of Remind Magazine. This is a cool magazine if you don't get it. Cool pop culture magazine. It's cheap to subscribe to. I'll put a link. They go over the top 50 horror movies of all time, their choices for the top 50. I'm going to go over this magazine, show you them in order, tell you my picks. Be sure and let me know in the comments what you think of their list and what you think they rank too high and what you think they left out and what they shouldn't have put in. All right, guys, 'tis the season. Happy Halloween. Thanks for watching. All right, let's get right to it. Top 50 horror movies. Number one, Halloween 1978. I just got through watching the Rob Zombie remake, believe it or not, for the very first time. And it was interesting, but it does not have the charm and atmosphere of the original John Carpenter classic, as you might expect. Really hard to capture the magic of that film. I love the fact that the kids are watching Forbidden Planet and that, because that's one of my top two favorite movies of all time, along with The Time Machine. Anyway, that's an aside. It's a great movie, and if you haven't seen it in a long time, it might be not be as violent as you remember, but definitely a masterpiece. Not going to argue with that at number one. Number two is The Exorcist. I'm not going to argue with that one either. Halloween definitely influenced the slasher genre, popularized it. The Exorcist popularized the realistic, religious horror movie. And in some ways, it made previous horror movies somewhat irrelevant, at least a lot of them. It made a lot of the monsters of the past seem a little cartoony and unrealistic, although I still love those movies as well. But yeah, William Friedkin's masterpiece is still scary. If you watch it at night with the lights off, alone, it's still scary to me. Yeah, I wouldn't watch it that way. So yeah, number two, it's a masterpiece. It's extremely well made, and I've seen that movie a bunch of times. Love it, cannot complain. Number three, Friday the 13th. Now, that's got a reputation, a famous movie. Part of it is the title, but part of it is it's a good movie, but I wouldn't put it as high just from the quality of the acting and filmmaking. Sure, it's a solid horror movie. It's a famous one, very influential, but it's a little high at number three. Be sure and let me know what you think. Alien at number four, definitely not going to argue with that one. Just like Terminator and Terminator 2, I prefer Alien to Aliens because it's more serious, it's more grounded, and man, it is just a really intense, awesome movie with effects that are amazing and still hold up. Guys, I remember in 1979 when I was in grade school, just a kid, I was 12, and man, the kids, that movie was the talk of the school, and there were a few lucky kids that actually got to go see it. And they were talking about the chest bursting and the aliens and the gore and just the awesomeness of the movie. I was so jealous because that's definitely not one my parents wanted to see. We typically saw what my parents wanted to see at the theater. We saw some great ones in the 70s, Close Encounters, Superman, and, several good ones, but we did not go see Alien, unfortunately. Great film. Number five, Nightmare on Elm Street. Not going to argue with that one. It's a great film that holds up remarkably well. I still love the first Nightmare on Elm Street, this one obviously, and I love the third one as well. And the other ones are pretty solid for the most part. But the original, if you haven't seen it in a long time, watch it. You've got a young Johnny Depp, and man, it is still a great film and obviously very famous. These top five could be called five of the most famous horror films of all time. Number six, Suspiria. Now, this is an interesting choice, this Italian film, to get this high of a billing, and I could put this one at number one. It's such a great, fantastic horror movie. The scene with the maggots still gets to me. It's just a fantastic picture, and I saw this back in the 90s with my friend Glenn, who loves Italian films. He loves the color and the suspense and how bizarre they are and how different than they are than U.S. releases. And, they remade Suspiria, which I still haven't seen, but I love the original. It's got incredible atmosphere, and it's scary, intense, and it just looks fantastic. So, yeah, number six is fine. Number seven, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. I have no problem with that as well. Another one that holds up. Now, a lot of these horror movies on here, like Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, these early choices, aren't super gory compared to more recent films. Now, this one has some truly harrowing scenes that are very scary and gripping. You know, the girl in the white that's being chased by uh, this guy here, Leatherface, is truly harrowing, holds up well. So, yeah, no problem with that one. The Omen at number eight, another great choice. Really grim and serious horror movie. Like The Exorcist, it takes the subject matter very seriously. And yeah, so no problem there. Be sure and let me know in the comments what you think of that choice. Again, I did not see that one at the theater, nor did I see Texas Chainsaw. A little intense for my parents, but anyway, a great movie I did see in the 80s during the VHS boom. The Shining, I love this film. Stephen King famously didn't like this version for the longest time and would criticize it. I think he's warmed up to it over the years. But me and my friend Johnny, who I've mentioned on this channel before, hardcore Kiss fan, my best friend in high school and as a kid, we watched The Shining constantly. We had it on VHS and we would watch it over and over and over again. And man, it's just so well made. It's beautifully shot. It's intense. It's scary. It's got just one harrowing scene after another. And the way he descends into madness is truly great. Yeah, you might have cast sort of a more everyman in the role because Jack Nicholson, you just know he's going to go nuts. But anyway, he did a great job. And it's just a great film. I still quote lines from this movie. What's your favorite food, Danny? French fries and ketchup. All right, moving on to number 10, The Blair Witch Project. I think that's a little high. Now, yeah, it was box office gold. Now, guys, there are a couple of films, one or two movies in this list that I haven't seen before, but I've seen almost all of them, and I'll tell you as I go. But I did see Blair Witch Project in the theater. And yeah, it was creepy. It was tense. It was, it started a craze of found footage movies. It worked very well for what it was. Very cheaply shot, but well made. A little high at number 10, but I'm not going to argue too much because it is a good movie, and it definitely was a cultural phenomenon. Spoiler alert. Anyway, Dawn of the Dead at number 11, 1978. My favorite film in this series is the original Night of the Living Dead, but Dawn of the Dead is great. Later, people called it, critics would call it a critique of American consumerism because it's in the shopping mall, but Romero just said that was a great place to shoot it, and it worked. Dawn of the Dead, great film. I did see it in the theater years later, just from what do they call them? Anyway, they showed it in the theater again after all these years. In one of these theaters that shows the classics. But yeah, it's great. So I'm not going to complain at number 11, even though I think Night of the Living Dead is a better movie overall. Number 12, Psycho, 1960. There's Janet Leigh. Now, a lot of people give Hitchcock, spoiler alert here, credit for killing off the heroine early in the film. Credit should go to Robert Bloch because that's how he wrote the original book. In the original book, Norman Bates was sort of fat and homely and gross, but Norman Bates is weird, but he's thin and differently portrayed in the movie. But yeah, definitely not going to argue with that one. The only scene in Psycho that doesn't hold up is the one where the character's falling down the stairs after getting killed. It just looks cheap, bad special effects, but every other second of the movie is great. And it was cutting edge for its time, 1960. It was pretty controversial. Number 13, The Silence of the Lambs. I've always thought this movie was a little overrated. Maybe it belongs on the top 50 list. Probably. I mean, it was the first horror movie to win, an award for Best Picture. Has there been one since then? Let me know in the comments. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, it's a very good movie. But we kind of laugh at it now. About the lambs and Clarice and all that, and I don't know. I think I've maybe seen it a couple too many times, but the fact that I've seen it several times should say something that I do like the movie, but maybe a little overrated. You can let me know. The Sixth Sense. Now, when I went with my friend to go see this movie, he told me there's a twist. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? So I sat there the whole time watching the movie, wondering what was going to happen. And sure enough, spoiler alert, he spoiled it for me. But yeah, oh well. Thanks, Johnny Lloyd. Different Johnny than I watched The Shining with. But yeah, Sixth Sense is a great movie. I'm sure you've heard the spoiler by now, most of you, but check it out. He sees dead people. There it is. Spoiler alert. But great movie. Not going to argue with it at number 14. M. Night Shyamalan, or however you say that, definitely his best movie. And I liked his follow-up feature to that as well, the one about comic books, Breaking. Having a brain fart. What is the second movie that Shyamalan did about the comic books and the guy that was basically made of glass? You can let me know in the comments. Number 15, Pet Sematary. Guys, this is a shockingly great movie. As good as the book is, you think, okay, there's no way the movie's going to hold a candle to the book. But the movie is great. It's creepy, it's scary, it's visceral. To see this kid cutting into the tendon of the foot of the one character with that little scalpel, holy cow. And the scene at the funeral where the coffin gets knocked over. And Denise Crosby from Star Trek The Next Generation is great in this movie. So yeah, Pet Sematary, no problem there. Number 16, The Birds. I was just talking to a very young person the other day saying, who's that director that did Psycho and The Birds and Vertigo? And I'm like, Alfred Hitchcock. So here's another Hitchcock classic. Pretty close to the beginning there with The Birds, pretty early on. And I love this film. It is creepy. It's well-paced. It's slow like an old movie, but in a good way. And I just love taking it in. It's got Rod Taylor from The Time Machine, again, tied for my top favorite movie of all time. So yeah, not going to argue with The Birds. And I love to see this choice at number 17, a purely fun, purely enjoyable movie, The Lost Boys. That hit me at such a good time. I was 20 years old. Star Trek The Next Generation came out that year. Love me some Lost Boys. Kiefer Sutherland is fantastic in it. I love the vibe. I love the scene. I love People Are Strange by The Doors. I think it's a cover version in the song, but great use of that tune. I mean, in the movie, it's a cover version, but just terrific. And Joel Schumacher, one of my favorite films that he's done. Guys, let me know if you think Lost Boys belongs this high up. I have no problem with it at that, just based on pure entertainment value and style. It's a great movie, and it's got one of the great last lines in cinema history, so check that out. Ringu was a fine film, 1998, before Japanese culture had taken over the U.S. so much, pop culture. So yeah, definitely watch that one if you get a chance. And if you're not into foreign films, watch it anyway. It's great. I have no problem with it up here. Carnival of Souls, I watched this one in the 90s for the first time with my friend Glenn, who I was telling you about. We used to, every weekend during the fall, when my wife would be going to University of Texas football games, season tickets with her friends, we would get together and watch movies, mostly from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, 60s. 30s through the 60s, I could say that a little more concise. Carnival of Souls was one of those I discovered. There are some great movies from the 1960s that are in black and white, like Psycho, like Dementia 13, like Night of the Living Dead. There's a great run of 60s movies that are in black and white that are just creepy as all get out, and Carnival of Souls is definitely one of those. Not going to argue with that in the top 19. It's purely surreal, and it's got a great plot. It's just excellent. And let's go up here at number 20 with Poltergeist. Again, I love that film. That is one we saw in the theater back in the day. My parents wanted to see it, so we did go see it. I loved it. And it's one of those movies that just has that great 80s quality, that distinct feel that you just can't capture. There's something magical about films of the 1980s, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, so many others. Poltergeist is definitely on that list. That was just magical. It's creepy and eerie, and I love that it took place, just in a suburban family home, and it's a movie people can relate to, and it's just great. Number 21, Night of the Living Dead. I think this film should be a little higher on the list, and like I told you guys, it's my favorite film in this series. It almost plays like a documentary with what's his face from Night Court doing the narration, and yeah, it's beautiful. It's just one of those great '60s black and white movies that is just dead serious, and boy, it holds up well. It's a great midnight movie. This used to play at the midnight movies a lot near me, and loved seeing it there. You know, along with Heavy Metal and Rocky Horror and that kind of thing. Bride of Frankenstein. Interesting, it made it before Frankenstein. A lot of people put this movie before Frankenstein, but I think they're probably equal in quality. I might give this one an edge just because I love the character of the Bride of Frankenstein so much. She has probably less than 5 minutes of screen time, and she's such an iconic character and didn't appear in any other films. This particular character, yeah, there's been spoofs and similar characters and that all along, but the actual bride, like showing up like Frankenstein monster and Dracula in more Universal movies. You know, there were 3 creature movies, you know, from the Black Lagoon, but just one Bride of Frankenstein, and she was just in it 5 minutes or less than that. And this is a great movie. It's beautiful. It's stylish. There's kind of that odd scene with those little miniature characters and those little glass domes, and some people think that kind of weighs it down a little bit, but it's a great movie. And there's that wailing woman that's in several Universal movies back then. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. You horror fans will know who I'm talking about. Maria Uspenskaya, was that her? Anyway, Bride of Frankenstein, a little low for my taste because I love this film. It's one of my favorites, but I'll take it. Number 23, Evil Dead. I just rewatched this the other day. Spoiler alert. And it's great, and it is groovy, and it had a great sequel in Evil Dead that was more comedic, but the original Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 are great. Army of Darkness is awesome as well. And I haven't watched anything beyond that, but I probably should in that series. So yeah, 23, not going to argue. The Fog, that's a fine film. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis and Adrienne Barbeau pictured there. Fine film. It's moody. It's excellent. It's 1980s. Can't go wrong with so many films in that time period. I would definitely not put it ahead of Carrie. As a matter of fact, Carrie I would easily put in the top 5. It's just such a great movie. It's scary. It's got great acting. It's cutting edge for the time. It really dug into, you know, teenage angst and, you know, religious fanaticism. And it's just so great. So props to De Palma for this film and for Stephen King for writing a great book that it's based on. One of my favorite King books and one of my favorite top 10 just movies in general of all time. Carrie, you know, I would put this in the top 5 easily. Love it. All right, guys, let's go over here to Child's Play. Now, with a bunch of sequels and kind of a silly premise at first glance, maybe you've underrated this film or you've never seen it or hadn't seen it in a long time. Give it another look. It holds up. It's great. Not going to argue at 26. Curse of the Demon, that's one I saw in the 90s with my friend Glenn. And it's another kind of almost plays like a 60s movie. It's a great black and white movie, but yeah, it's got that 50s vibe to it too. Jacques Tourneur Tournier, can't remember, don't know exactly how to say it. Tournier of Cat People fame. Yeah, he directed several great movies back in those days, and I do have that box set. I should probably learn exactly how to say his name. But The Curse of the Demon, that's a fun one that holds up. I don't know that I'd put it as high as 27, but it's a cool movie. The Haunting at 1963. We still love The Haunting, it says, because it's a masterpiece of how to scare without showing much at all. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I agree. Julie Harris is excellent in that. It's a fantastic movie. Watched that with my kids when they were younger. That's a fun one for sure. It's creepy. It holds up pretty well. Not 100%. I'd put it at 28 because there's some great movies that follow it, but it's solid for sure. Burnt Offerings. Now, there's one I haven't seen, and it's got Oliver Reed and Karen Black, 2 horror movie icons. It's got Burgess Meredith from Batman and the Rocky films, and Bette Davis. Man, what a legendary cast. Do you guys remember Oliver Reed as Hammer's version of the Wolfman, essentially? So yeah, let me know in the comments if I should see Burnt Offerings. I guess I should if it's on the list. Scream, that's one that holds up. Spoiler alert. Scream holds up well. It's a fun film. It's really slick, and I love that Monica from Friends is in it. And Wes Craven, I mean, what's not to love, guys? It's a fun film. And it created Ghostface, I think is his name. Is that it? It's been a while since I've seen these, but these are a lot of fun and it's slick. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with this being maybe it's slightly high, but it's popular. You know, this magazine appears to definitely favor popularity, but it does have some dark horse picks too. So, anyway, Scream at number 30. Let me know what you think. Candyman at 1992. That one got really popular again pretty recently. There was a few years ago. I don't know if it just started streaming or what, but for some reason it was back in the zeitgeist. Candyman, solid film at number 31. Not going to argue too much with it being in the top 50. Again, I wouldn't put it ahead of a couple of others that are going to follow here in a minute. Number 32, spoiler alert, Frankenstein I would definitely put ahead of Candyman. 32, the Amityville Horror. That's a great one. When I was a kid, we had a house right down the road from us that had windows like that, and it always spooked us when we'd ride our bikes by it. And I love that Margot Kidder from Lois Lane is in it, and it's a fun. And I do like movies like this that take place in suburbia and their couple or families or whatever. So many older horror movies, in the pre-70s, pre-60s, or gothic and things of that nature. So I really love when people like Richard Matheson and Stephen King and some of these filmmakers started putting horror, and Robert Bloch as well, in suburban confines. Speaking of that, Rosemary's Baby, 1968. Man, talk about films on this list that are listed too low and that hold up well. Mia Farrow, you guys know she's had some words to say about Woody Allen, story for another time. Anyway, she's been in a lot of Woody Allen movies that I really enjoy a lot. She's great in this film. She's very young. She had that crazy short haircut. Talk about a movie that goes along with films like The Exorcist and The Omen that take a realistic portrayal of horror. Definitely watch Rosemary's Baby. This should be in the top 10 or 15 for me, at least. 34, Frankenstein. This is another top 10, 15 one for me, maybe top 5. It's just great. It holds up remarkably well. I love the old Universal films with the, I love Gothic horror. And Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein and the Wolfman are my favorite from that time. And just greatness. Too low at 34. Let me know what you think. Number 35, The Howling. Great werewolf movie. And from 1981. Did not see that in the theater. Saw it a few years later. I did see Frankenstein in the theater, just at one of these revival. That's the word I was looking for earlier. These revival theaters. But I didn't see The Howling in the theater, but it is definitely a great movie. 35 seems about right. You can let me know what you think. Dracula from 1931. It's interesting if you watch that now. Most of the horror, most of the attacks, the, like biting the neck and all that stuff takes place off camera. They start to show it, and then it just goes to the next scene. Yeah, it was 1931, so they were being very careful. Dracula, it seems more primitive than Frankenstein, even though it's the same year. Dracula seems like more like a stage play than Frankenstein does. Near Dark, a great vampire movie. Do I keep saying great? Have I said that too many times? How about this? A fantastic horror movie. I saw this one during the VHS boom. Late 80s. Yeah, I saw this in the late 80s. When I worked at Lone Star Comics in 1989, I saw Near Dark. Someone had recommended it. Definitely a killer vampire movie. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. All right, guys. Let's go to number 38, Hellraisers. I've seen that a number of times on cable television back in the day. 38 seems about right, and the book is good as well. I actually got to have dinner with Clive Barker one time during the Marvel Mega Tour during the early 90s when I had my comic book stores. He was part of the Marvel Mega Tour, a big convention, spoiler alert, that was in Dallas, and my brother-in-law's comic store was elected to participate in that, which is 4 other retailers in North Texas. We were chosen, very proud of that. And I and my wife got to have dinner with Clive Barker and Stan Lee. Pretty cool, and a bunch of retailers. So that was fun. Next up is Audition for 1999, Japanese import. I've never seen that one. Let me know in the comments if I should see Audition. Says it's not for the faint of heart or weak of stomach. Number 40, Dead Ringers. Jeremy Irons are fascinatingly creepy as twin brother gynecologists. I've seen this one a couple of times, and I do like David Cronenberg's films. There's that one with Marilyn Chambers that's really good, and there's a few others that I really like. But Dead Ringers is solid. I don't even think that's Cronenberg's best film, but here it is at number 40. Let me know what you think. Number 41 is Jaws. Now, Jaws is one of the best movies on this list in terms of sheer greatness of films. But since it's not purely a horror movie, perhaps, like it says here, no ghouls, no slashers. But Jaws is a monster, basically. He's, a sort of heightened shark. Sharks don't have revenge like in mind, like in Jaws 4. But anyway, Jaws is probably this low on the list because it's not considered really, it's kind of more of like, it's kind of an adventure film, an action movie, but a horror movie also. But anyway, I'm sure my son Ryan would think it belongs higher on the list because that and Poseidon Adventure are his favorite films. The Blob from 1958, kind of an interesting choice. If you watch it now, it's funny because Steve McQueen was supposed to pass for a teenager, and him and Helen Crump from Andy Griffith's show, spoiler alert, are supposed to portray as teenagers, and they definitely a lot older than that, kind of like Grease. And The Blob is definitely one of the campier, less pure quality films on this list, but it is a lot of fun. And I did get to go, before I was doing YouTube, I did get to go to the filming location outside of Philadelphia for this. So I don't have a video of that, but it was fun. I do have some pictures somewhere on social media. Number 43, the remake of The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I love the 50s one with Kevin McCarthy. And he does make a cameo in this 1978 version. And my son Ryan and I just watched this the other day because he'd never seen it before. And he definitely gave it the approval. He liked it a lot. And I love that it has Leonard Nimoy in it. Mr. Spock was definitely one of my heroes growing up. So yeah, I have no problem with that at number 43. Number 44, my daughter Katie calls this her favorite Universal Monster movie. She might want this a little higher on the list. Maybe you saw Katie in the Tetris video we did. Spoiler. Creature from the Black Lagoon, I have no problem with that up here at number 44. I might put it a little higher just because I'm such a hardcore Universal fan. A little biased on those movies. So yeah, number 44, maybe a little low. It's just a beautifully shot film. I love Julia Adams in it. The shot of her underwater and the white bathing suit and the creature swimming after her, iconic. 45, In the Mouth of Madness, pretty interesting choice. Kind of it's inspired by Lovecraft, but it sort of has a realistic feel to it, at least as far as a movie about supernatural things. So yeah, and part of that is due to, John Carpenter's great. And Sam Neill, is awesome. So yeah, it's a good movie. Not going to complain about it being on the list. An American Werewolf in London, still a very enjoyable movie. You got to love John Landis. John Landis is like Martin Scorsese and Peter Bogdanovich and Quentin Tarantino. You know what they have in common? The most hardcore movie buff you will ever know, the people that know more about movies than I've ever heard in my life. Listen to their interviews sometime. It's fascinating. 47, Creepshow. I watched this one a million times on cable TV back in the day. I never got tired of seeing Stephen King as Jordy Verrill coming out and, meteor shit, he said. And just him being covered with moss and everything, and just that he had a cameo in that was a full segment, really, more than a cameo. But Creepshow is a lot of fun. It's told like a comic book. It's just pure entertaining. And the sequel is decent, but not nearly as fun as the first one. 48 is Phantom of the Opera. This one I would put way ahead of way higher on the list than 48. It is an absolute masterpiece. Gorgeous film, epic in scope, and it's just an all-time classic. Even if you resist typically silent films, you've got to check out maybe the best one, in my opinion, Phantom of the Opera, at least the best one. Best horror movie. Some of those comedies are probably the best, by Charlie Chaplin and Harold Lloyd and some of the others, Buster Keaton. But this is the best horror movie for sure, silent one, in my opinion. Also like Hunchback of Notre Dame. Number 49, The Changeling with George C. Scott. Kind of a subtle horror movie, and I'm not 100% sure I would put it on this list, but my buddy Kevin Burnett sure would. He loves this movie, and he's about my age, went to high school with me, so I guess I'll give it a nod for Kevin, but it is a good film, and I've seen it a couple times, so yeah, solid. And again, 1980s, love that decade. Number 50, Phantasm. I remember going over to my friend Glenn's house. My kids were there, and we watched Phantasm. Kids were probably a little young for it. They were probably, I don't remember, 10, 12, 14, something like that when they saw it. And they loved it. It was creepy and fun and just weird. But I have no problem with Phantasm at number 50. Pretty cool movie. But yeah, they definitely left some off the list. There's no Invisible Man on here, the original. Love to hear from you guys. The Wolfman. I love The Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr., Evelyn Akers. Didn't make the list. But guys, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think didn't make the list, what should have made the list, and what on here, what you think should be ranked higher, what you think should be ranked lower, and all that good stuff. Anyway, guys, happy Halloween, and thanks for watching. And thanks for liking and subscribing. I really appreciate it.